this is pretty much what teamwork is all about. You know, regardless of where you come from, or big city, or a rural area, or if you come from a lot of money or no money, one of the things that we all share in common is we all have had a journey, and that journey has brought you here today in this building together as a company. And it has to do with teamwork. I played for some great coaches, Coach Dean Smith at the University of North Carolina, Pat Rowley, and Jerry West and Bill Sharman, some of the people I've been under their tutelage. And it takes teamwork. And a lot of times we look at teamwork and we think it's the obvious. A lot of times we think it's the biggest salary. Okay, the team that has the biggest salary. A lot of times we think of the Yankees' success, and we think of all the money spent. We think of big buildings and a big budget for marketing and that type of thing. Those are all characteristics of teamwork, but the basic characteristics and the elements of teamwork are people. Regardless of the technology that we invent on a quarterly basis, regardless of how many hours you put in. Sometimes you could overwork. Sometimes you put in, 14 hours when you only need to put in 10. But it's really, people are the best resources that we still have. And with that, you have teamwork. And teamwork takes personality. It takes willing to agree to disagree, recognizing who has the talent, and having solutions, for when you have obstacles to overcome. I can remember being the number one draft pick in 1982, and I was a pretty humble guy. I played for a coach that really instilled, being conscious. But when I came to Los Angeles, I was a little bit full of myself. I was ready, man. I was ready to play. I had just won a championship in college, most outstanding player over Michael Jordan. He was just a little freshman. So I came to LA and I was ready to showcase. I was ready to go. So the first couple days I walked in the gym. I saw Kareem and I was in awe. I remembered him when he was Lou Alcindor. I saw Magic Johnson. I said, man, I can't wait to be on the recipient of some of his passes. Norm Nixon was with the team. Showtime was in effect. Jamal Wilkes was, out of UCLA, was a small forward. And I was a power forward in college. So I walked in, I'm like, I'm gonna take somebody's position. I was just where I was. And so I saw everybody, and then I took a double take when I saw Kurt Rambis. I said, now here's a guy who can't run, can't jump. And he's got these serial killer thick glasses on with duct tape keeping them. I said, there it is right there. I can get that position. And just to show you how teamwork works, the first 2 or 3 days of practice, and forgive me if my language, but he beat the shit out of me, man. He beat me to a pulp and introduced me to what a power forward in the NBA was all about. And at that moment, I said, teamwork. Because with teamwork, you're gonna have some success. You're gonna meet your goals, okay? And if you don't have teamwork, you're probably gonna have a big turnover rate. You're gonna have lack of communication in the workplace. You need to have well-being at the workplace. You gotta recognize, I was pretty good, but I had to realize sometimes you have to follow before you leave. We had Magic Johnson. There's no way I was gonna come in there and take his excitement and his leadership. So I had to calm down. And I didn't even start my rookie year. I had to sit on the bench behind Bob McAdoo, who was a Hall of Famer, he's like, you're not getting my minutes. And Michael Cooper, the Minister of Defense, I couldn't defend like him. I wasn't going to get his minutes, so I had to, and I was the #1 draft pick. So I had to understand, and it took being a good listener as well. My mother used to always say, be slow to speak and eager to listen. Because when you're listening, you get the information that you're looking for. Sometimes you're in a meeting, and a lot of people, sometimes they're just trying to show how smart they are, and they just keep talking and asking questions. But you have to be a good listener. Which reminds me of this kid, pretty savvy kid, for 12-year-old, pretty entrepreneur, kid named Joey. And one day after school, he was just walking by the church, and he and his friend Tommy, and he said, Tommy, I hadn't been in a confession for some time now, and I need to go in. And Tommy's like, no way, I'm not going in there. No, I'm not going in. So Joey, pretty savvy entrepreneur, he went in. Father, forgive me, I've sinned and I need to repent. And right away the father said, is that you, Joey? And he said, yes, sir, it's me. He says, what's the problem? What have you done? He said, well, I've been a little uncharacteristically loose with girls at school. I'm going through this period where I'm trying to, date a little bit, but I'm not hitting it too well, Coach, Father. And Father says, well, who have you been, approaching? He said, Father, I can't tell you. I promise. And he said, is it Lisa Jackson? He said, no, Father, I promise I can't tell. He said, is it Jamie Ireland? No, Father, I promise I can't tell you. And the father was getting a little irritated at the time. He said, now look, I talked to a lot of people in here. I'm going to find out eventually. He said, was it Mary Jones? No, Father, I promise. What about Hazel Watson? No, sir, I can't tell. I'm just not going to tell. So the father was a little irritated. He said, well, you're not going to leave here without punishment. And he said, your punishment is you will not be altar boy for a month. And he said, now you get out of here and you stay out of trouble. So Joey went out, and of course his friend was waiting to hear what the results were. And he says, what happened? What was your punishment? And Joey says, it's easy. He says, I got a month vacation and 4 new leads. He's a good listener. And he had a plan. And that's the key to teamwork, is being a good listener and getting the information that you want. With the Lakers, we're pretty good communicators. But not all things were dandy and happy. When I first came, I didn't, Magic and I got along, but we had different personalities. I was more introverted, he was more, extroverted. I just wanted to do my thing and play. But then they started talking about trading me in 1986. And I got to know Magic a little bit better at that point, because we weren't communicating best. We went out to dinner and we communicated. But the key to your company, which I can already see, is having good communication skills, understanding the talent in the room. I knew what Kurt Rambis could do. I couldn't do it. We knew what Jamal Wilkes could do, and you have to be willing to sacrifice, that to enroll the team. It's about enrolling one another and monitoring one another constructively. It's okay to take some criticism if you know it's valid and if you know that it's going to enhance the team. That's the key, because the goal is to get to the end and meet that goal. Don't be, 3rd, 4th, 5th place every year. Communication is key, and recognizing what each of you do. Everybody in here is talented. A lot of you compete for the same stuff, but somebody's a little bit better at doing it, and you have to allow them to do it. And I've always learned from coaches, and who I consider supervisors and people in authority, is to be able to enroll people. If you have talent, your talent is obviously you want to make a lot of money and you want to be the MVP. That's all good. But if you're the LeBron James or the Magic Johnson of your team, your role also involves bringing those who might not be as talented as you are and bringing them up to the level that the team needs. Okay? We can look at a lot of companies with
Wow.
great people, great lawyers, and great marketing people, but they don't have the necessary skills to take someone who might not have the talent. They have talent, a talent which you need in order to make the team, work. Pat Riley was a master at that. He knew how to communicate both firmly, and he knew personality. He knew how to back off. He knew how to push certain players. He was great at it. We'd have a bad game. Sometime he'd come in at halftime and he would just go down the line. Magic. There's nothing mystical about you. Do 8 turnovers already. What's going on with you? Worthy, you're worthless tonight. Byron Scott, I don't know why we traded for you. You haven't hit anything. And then he looked at Kareem and Kareem, what would you like to do tonight? So he knew who to touch and he knew who he could, So that's an interesting talent to have. My college coach was another one, Dean Smith. He was very close to being like the coach from UCLA, and everybody knows who that is. Pyramid of success. He didn't care if you were Michael Jordan, the player, or Michael Johnson, the towel boy. You all got treated the same as people. He did a great job of enrolling us into what was possible in our lives, not just in this particular field that we were playing basketball. So, it's all about the commitment, the discipline, the extra work you want to put in to enroll other people, and being a good listener. Do you guys know Forrest Gump passed? Forrest Gump went up to the pearly gates, and St. Peter was waiting for him there. And St. Peter told Forrest Gump, he said, it's getting kind of crowded up here, so we're going to have to demand an exam to get in. And you can stay out here in the heavenly park tonight and think about these 3 questions. He said, I want you to tell me what 2 days of the week start with the letter T. Okay. The second question is, how many seconds are in a year? And the third question is, what's the son of God? What's his name? So Forrest Gump said, well, Mama said, I didn't do very well in exams, but I'll be back in the morning. And so he came back, and St. Peter said, okay, question number 1, how many days of the week start with a T? Forrest Gump said, scratched his head, he says, well, today and tomorrow. St. Peter scratched his head, he says, that's not quite what I was looking for, but technically I'm kind of right, I can't. So let's go on to question 2. Well, how many seconds are in a year? We left your calculator out there so you could figure it's easy. Forrest Gump said that was the easy one. Forrest Gump said there's 12. St. Peter, he didn't say it out loud, but in his mind he says, he's going to hell for sure. I said, how'd you get to 12? He said, well, I figured there's January 2nd, there's February 2nd, March 2nd. St. Peter's like, well, technically, he's right. So let's go to question number 3. What's What's God's son's name? And everybody knows that. Everybody knows Jesus. Forrest Gump said Andy. Andy. And he said, how'd you get to Andy? And he says, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me. You guys don't go to church, do you? Anyway, I had a couple of jokes I wanted to tell. But it's all about the teamwork, and it's all about how you enroll people. And when you have problems, you have to have solutions. With the Lakers, we had this thing we call circle of communication. 1985, we beat the Celtics for the first time. 1986, we lost in the Western Conference Finals because our team got disarray. Everybody was getting new contracts. Everybody wanted a new contract. The communication skills were down. So what we did is we closed the locker room, locked it up. 12 guys in a circle, no coaches, no media. We did have Gary Vitti, our trainer, as a mediator, just stand there and everyone had 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 2 minutes uninterrupted. I know you guys already do this in your corporate, but that's how we would get our team back together. We weren't afraid to talk about it. And everybody had 2 minutes. Now, for the starters, it was easy because we were just whining and griping. But the 12th guy on the team, the 14th guy on the team who never plays, just practices, those were the people we wanted to hear from. So that's why I always say, as a person in authority, enroll your janitor all the way up to your CEO, and you will have success with your company. And I'd like to thank you guys for having me, and I'm going to open it up for some questions.